I'm going to do several readings with you now from one of my favorite books. It's not a perfect book, no book is, but I like the way this man thinks. He's recently died in the last, I think, 5 years. His book is Letting Go, The Pathway of Surrender by Dr. David Hawkins, PhD. I want to take my time with these readings because I really want you to absorb these very important words. This is my go-to when I'm holding on too tightly. So as I said, 2001 has been very challenging. The gravity is heavy, the smog is thick. And to get to a lighter place where the sky is blue, we must balance our material efforts with our spiritual energy. And all the best teachers say we have to practice detachment, letting go, practicing the art of impermanence. So that's what we're going to practice today, surrendering and letting go. After I'm done with these readings, I will ask for you to reflect on what you heard. There will be some music. And then I'll ask you to write your thoughts on a piece of paper that you were given when you came this morning. And there is, the ushers can provide a piece of paper for you, a little slip of paper if you need it, and a pen or a pencil. If you're online, use the chat feature. I have my phone up here. I will review the chat. And you will be given an opportunity to share publicly if you choose. You don't have to. But either way, after I'm done, everyone, as you are able, come forward and what are you resolving to let go of? My little trash bag there that I'm going to burn in my fireplace with a prayer later on today. So we're going to let it go. All right, so let's start the readings. You can read along at home. And I can make you copies of these later on if you wish. What is the surrendered state? It means to be free of negative feelings in a given area so that creativity and spontaneity can manifest without opposition or interference of inner conflicts. To be free of inner conflict and expectations is to give others in our life the greatest freedom. It allows us to experience the basic nature of the universe, which to him is to manifest the greatest good possible in a situation. This may sound philosophical, he says, but when done is experientially true. He says we have three major ways of handling our feelings: suppression, expression, escape. A far better alternative is to take responsibility for our own feelings. Instead of feeling it, we project it onto the world and those around us. We experience the feeling as if it belonged to them. They then become the enemy, and the mind searches for and finds justifications to reinforce the projection. Blame is placed on people, places, institutions, food, climatic conditions, astrological events, social conditions, fate, God, luck, the devil, foreigners, ethnic groups, political rivals, and other things outside of ourselves. Projection is the main mechanism in use by the world today. It accounts for all wars, strife, and civil disorder. Hating the enemy is even encouraged in order to become a good citizen. We maintain our own self-esteem at the expense of others, and eventually this results in social breakdown. The mechanism of projection underlines all attack, violence, aggression, and every form of social destruction. In contrast, what happens when we let go of a feeling? the energy behind the feeling is instantly surrendered, and the net effect is decompression. The accumulated pressure begins to decrease as we constantly let go. Everyone knows that when we let go, we immediately feel better. The body's physiology changes. It's been proven. There are detectable improvements in skin color, breathing, pulse, blood pressure, muscle tension, gastrointestinal function, and blood chemistries. In the state of inner freedom, all bodily functions and organs move in the general direction of normalcy and health. There's an immediate increase in muscle power. Vision improves. Our perception of the world and ourselves changes for the better. We feel happier, more loving, and more easygoing. And this is also why meditation and prayer work. The mechanism of letting go. Letting go involves being aware of a feeling, letting it come up, staying with it, and letting it run its course without wanting to make it different or do anything about it. It means simply to let the feeling be there and to focus on letting out the energy behind it. The first step is to allow yourself to have the feeling without resisting it, venting it, fearing it, condemning it, or moralizing about it. It means to drop judgment and to see that it is just a feeling. The technique is to be with the feeling and surrender all efforts to modify it in any way. Let go of wanting to resist the feeling. It is resistance that keeps the feeling going. When you give up resisting or trying to modify the feeling, it will shift to the next feeling and be accompanied by a lighter sensation. A feeling that is not resisted will disappear as the energy behind it dissipates. You will notice that you have fear and guilt over having feelings. To let feelings come up, it is easier to let go of the reaction to having the feelings in the first place. A fear of fear itself is a prime example of this. Let go of the fear of guilt that you have about the feeling first. And then get into the feeling itself. When letting go, ignore all thoughts. Focus on the feeling itself, not on the thoughts. Thoughts are endless and self-reinforcing, and they only breed more thoughts. Thoughts are merely rationalizations of the mind to try and explain the presence of the feeling. The real reason for the feeling is the accumulated pressure behind the feeling, that is forcing it to come up in the moment. Surrender. To be surrendered means to have no strong emotion about a thing. It's okay if it happens, it's okay if it doesn't. When we are free, there is a letting go of attachments. We can enjoy a thing, but we don't need it for our happiness. There is a progressive diminishing of dependence on anything or anyone outside of ourselves. These principles are in accord with the basic teachings of the Buddha to avoid attachment to worldly phenomena, as well as the basic teaching of Jesus to be in the world but not of it. And sometimes we surrender a feeling and we notice that it returns or continues. This is because there is more of it yet to be surrendered. We have stuffed these feelings all of our lives, and there can be a lot of energy pushed down that needs to come up and be acknowledged. When surrender occurs, there is an immediate, lighter, happier feeling, almost like a high. By continuously letting go, it is possible to stay in that state of freedom. Feelings come and go, and eventually you realize that you are not your feelings, but that the real you is merely witnessing them. You stop identifying with them. The you that is observing is aware of what is happening always stays the same. Let me read that again. The you that is observing and is aware of what is happening always stays the same. As you become more and more aware of the changeless witness within, you begin to identify with that level of consciousness. You become progressively primarily the witness rather than the experiencer of the phenomena. You get closer and closer to the real self and begin to see that you had been duped by feelings all along. You thought that you were the victim of your feelings. Now you see that you are not the truth about you. Now you see that they are not the truth about yourself. They are merely created by the ego, that collection of programs which the mind has mistakenly believed are necessary for survival. So now we pause for a moment and reflect on what has been shared. To write your thoughts on that piece of paper now, if you choose to. If virtual, go in the chat. Pause and reflect. I want to give the ushers an opportunity, if you would like to share publicly, just raise your hand. And there is a person online who has shared that they are letting go of their anger and other negative feelings toward others who have hurt them. May it be so. Letting go of holding everything so tightly. Do you have your hand up? No? Okay, sorry. letting go of worrying about what others think of me. It's none of my business. Some are having difficulty with letting go with what happened January 6th and what is happening with COVID and all the things that I've mentioned in the service. It's been a tough year. But hoping in reflection that 2022 will be better and that I will be able to let it go. Maybe so. I also want to invite you, if you've written something down, to bring it up and put it in this paper bag, and I will take it home and offer a prayer, as well as these things that have been shared online. We will get a printout of those and put them in the bag, and I will burn those with a prayer to let go and let life. One practice is from one of our members is the serenity prayer. Every morning, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. She says, I control nothing and nothing controls me. I am free to be me. May it be so. A lot of private thoughts, as it should be. We have a lot on our mind, a lot that we are holding on to and wishing we could let go of. It's not easy. I have studied Buddhism for a long time, and the Buddha wrestled with this for a long time. So I don't expect us to just be able to put something in a bag and let it go, but it's the beginning. It's a practice. It's a ritual.